So, what has been going on? Hang on, I'm going to find something. Oh, they were Pokemon. The Pokemon, they must have walked behind. Oh, really? We got Pikachus. Look that way.
Okay.
Nailed it.
So Silver Seas says, great episode. I really enjoyed it. And it was clear you did your research. I believe Colin came up with the name Rayblocks. So remember, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, if it was Rayblocks. And yeah.
So that's kind of cool. And then he said, I died a little bit inside when you said it was having scam issues instead of spam issues.
Yeah. Did you mean to say that, Nathan?
Yeah, it was just a little joke.
Yeah. But what time is it?
And then I
3
replied
PM.
saying, he's replied here as well. I replied saying, Silver Seas, such a diplomatic response. Few and far between online these days. Thanks for clarifying spam instead of scam. Apologies for putting you through that. We certainly have to look at how they're addressing this, although I was interested... that's true. I was listening to an interview with Colin this week. Okay, so this is a good thought. Literally
is this Nano
week,
Part 2?
It's becoming it. I was listening to a interview with Colin that just came out this last week, and he was explaining the spam issues.
Yeah.
And he really didn't go into very good detail as to how they're fixing it. But anyway. And then another one here from Sergio.
So what are the spam issues? What are the...
Well, I don't know. They were having some problems where, like, I don't know what a spam issue is, and so I'll just butcher it. But I suppose it's like unidentified transactions or something. I don't know. I'm sure we can get a clarification. But anyway, they were having some sort of technical issue, and that was the fundamental problem with... Oh, this is cool. Silver Seas is all over it. He's replying to someone else's comment.
Yeah.
On our...
We've got a power user.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Someone asked if we were behind an elevator.
Yeah.
And someone else said Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Yeah.
Do you want to hear my reply?
No, I don't. I didn't think it was very good. I feel like we need a better, anger management response. I just wanted to reply to that one really angry, like, "Shut up, you idiot! Where's your podcast about Nano?"
Okay, I got an idea. Let's do a signature at the bottom of our comments.
Yeah.
So it's either IS or NN.
No, not. It has to be a different.
No, your actual signature.
It has to be an anagram.
What?
Like a different. It has to be like a different. Don't worry.
Okay. Well, okay. You
like
have a trait. Like you have a mark. I have a mark.
All right.
And then mine is like very diplomatic and pleasant, and then yours is just all capitals and super angry. And
why are you commenting this on my video? I don't appreciate it.
All right. So I feel like within that you might have something interesting. Anything else you want to bring up before we start?
Yeah. So, Nathan, there's a little bit of an event going on, and
That's true.
I think there's a few less people here. So it's Saturday the 3rd of July at the moment.
Yes,
and
it's probably like August the 25th if you're hearing this on the release date.
August July, let's say July the 12th that we would hope to release this.
Yes.
So
okay.
Event,
there's a lot of people walking around.
The event is called the Newcastle Ripper.
The Newcastle Ripper, okay.
Does that give you any clues?
No.
It
sounds like Jack the Ripper.
Yes, so there's Jack the Ripper as a picture on the top.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Think you have what it takes to catch a serial killer? Clued Up is an exciting outdoor detective adventure.
Clued Up.
And it's coming to Newcastle, Australia on Saturday, the 3rd of July, 2021.
Okay.
The name of Jack the Ripper strikes fear into the heart of detectives across the world.
Goodness gracious.
Now it seems that a new Ripper is on the loose in Newcastle. Only you can put an end to the terror. Oh, no. Oh, no. Your thing's broken again.
I broke another one. I was trying to undo it.
Can a team of detectives scramble across town, solve clues, and crack the case before the Ripper strikes again? Clued Up it seems that Clued Up is the company. Clued Up murder mysteries have been played by 500,000 detectives in more than 40 countries worldwide. Tickets sell out fast, so grab your team a place today and find the Ripper before the Ripper finds you. So, the common theme has been Sherlock Holmes and Scooby-Doo, right?
Yeah.
So I think you dress up as your favorite detective series to go and find the, thing, and they're pretty iconic kind of detectives, I guess. A bit of a fun for the whole family. What's something that's absolutely synonymous with Apple and Microsoft? HQLA is looking to become the third American company to hit a market cap of $2 trillion.
Perfect.
It's HQLA episode 15. Welcome.
Yes, it is. And we're back, and we are outside again.
Oh, we are outside.
Yes, we had a stint of inside.
Had a whole 2 episodes there where we were inside.
Sorry, noisy motorbike. We did, yes, we had one at my house.
Yes.
And we had one at the lift near your house.
Yes.
Couldn't do
Very
it in your
near my
apartment.
house.
It was very close, but not quite in it.
About 5 meters away from my house.
We are now in a park called Civic Park here in Newcastle. And behind us, directly behind me, you'll see
The town hall.
the town hall. Not sure what happens in there.
Yep, something happens in there.
And directly behind Isaac is the brand new spanking Kingsley Hotel.
Kingsley Hotel in the old tax building.
Correct. It was the old tax office. And it's supposed to be Newcastle's first 5-star hotel. Although I've spoken to someone who's stayed there and they're not sure. Maybe it's just Newcastle level 5-star.
Yeah, well, that's interesting you say that because we have the Novotel as well, which is quite nice in the east,
not
right
5 though.
Right in the east end. It's pretty. I mean, it's pretty fancy. I don't know.
I'd say it's comparable, but technically I don't think it's 5-star though.
Really? Okay. All right.
That's my understanding of the situation, but I could totally be wrong.
Yep. Well, there we go.
There you go. So we've previously spoken about Bitcoin.
Yeah.
We like Bitcoin.
Yeah, I like Bitcoin.
I think it's pretty cool. We've talked a little bit about Ethereum, focusing on Ethereum 2.0. And recently we've talked about Nano. And Nano got great engagement. We found some diehard fans who love Nano, and we love it too. And so it was awesome to converse with them online.
They're not gonna like they're not gonna like episode 14 when it comes out and there's no cryptos in it.
So they're not going to be listening to this anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so today I wanted to talk about another one. And it's one that I've had on my radar for, I would say, 6 months, but I've never looked into. I do own this coin, but this is not by any means financial advice.
Good disclaimer.
Okay, so this one is called Cardano.
Ah, yeah.
You heard of it?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was launched in September 2017, so it's pretty new.
The first time that I heard about this, I thought it was like Grant Cardone's thing.
Yes.
Because everyone was
it sounds
making
like a conference he'd run.
Because a while ago there was everyone was kind of making their own crypto, like a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, has Grant Cardone gone and made the third most popular cryptocurrency?
Yeah.
I hate that guy. Why does he have to do that? Nah.
Do you?
No, he's all right. He's all right.
Yes,
Sorry for the
that's a
distraction.
that's a rabbit hole we don't need to go down. Okay, so they launched it in 2017 after 2 years of development, and one of the distinguishing factors about this particular crypto is that it was built around peer-reviewed papers. So what that means is usually when a developer or a development company creates a cryptocurrency or a blockchain-related thing, or it could, I think it's most things on the internet, there's a white paper.
Yeah.
And it's describing basically what it is in a more technical way. And so most of the time the product is created and a white paper comes out alongside it. In this particular situation, instead of writing the white paper and implementing the code straight away, they basically put out a bunch of white papers and got a bunch of experts to give opinion and approval, etc. And then from that, ADA or Cardano was formed. So that's kind of cool. They say that that's unique to their particular cryptocurrency. Now, how was Cardano created? So,
Peer-reviewed papers. Oh, sorry, no, it wasn't a quiz.
It's 3 organizations behind Cardano. So remember, with Nano, it was Nano Foundation.
Nano Foundation, yeah.
We're kind of the overarching organization behind it. This particular situation is 3. So there's Cardano Foundation, which is the non-profit legal custodian, which is responsible for oversight and supervision of the brand.
Yeah.
They've got 25 plus employees in 15 countries, which is pretty cool. And then the second organisation is called Emergo.
Emergo.
Emergo. Emergo. And they're the global tech partner responsible for commercial adoption. They've got 40 plus employees in 6 countries. But one that we want to highlight here is a company called IOHK, which is Input Output Hong Kong, is what that stands for.
Yep.
And so they're the software engineering and technology company that was responsible for building and doing the research. So they're the actual technical infrastructure behind this crypto.
Yeah.
And so on their website, they say that they're one of the world's most powerful blockchain infrastructure research and engineering companies. They've got over 400 employees in 50 countries. And the main thing that they focus on is this concept of cascading disruption. So it's the idea that most of the structures that form the world's financial, governance, and social systems are inherently unstable, right?
Yeah.
And IOHK is basically committed to identifying and developing technology to push towards fair and transparent order.
What did you say it was called? IOAC?
IOHK.
Oh, HK.
Are you looking it up?
Okay, yeah.
Sick. So IOHK was founded by a guy named Charles Hoskinson
Yep.
and Jeremy Wood.
Yep.
Now, really interesting thing here is Charles Hoskinson was one of the co-founders of Ethereum.
Oh, right.
One of 8.
Yeah.
And he actually moved on in 2014 after a dispute over whether they should accept VC funding or whether it should stay as a non-profit at Ethereum. He was on the side...
he moved away from Ethereum
Yes.
to go on... Yeah, okay.
Different sources will say that he kind of got fired and different sources will say that he left. But I'll say that he moved on. A bit more diplomatic.
Very safe.
And so he was more in favour of the profitable VC funding format as opposed to non-profit. Jeremy Wood, who's the other co-founder of the technical development company behind Cardano, is... so Jeremy Wood, he was the operations manager at Ethereum. Right? So 2 ex-Ethereum employees, 1 a founder, start this new crypto. And so the blockchain itself is called Cardano, and the cryptocurrency is ADA.
Oh, yeah, okay, all right. Yeah, I always wondered about that because I've heard both of them in the same,
Right.
in the same sentence. Yeah.
Exactly. It's the same as Ethereum and Ether.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And so this particular crypto is third generation crypto, which is a phrase that you might have also heard. Bitcoin, which is just used for transfer of virtual money or value, is the first generation. Second generation is Ethereum, which brings into that smart contracts.
True, yeah.
And then the third generation is ADA. There's another one called like Polkadot. There's a bunch,
I've
bunch
heard
of
that
different
one,
ones that are trying to push the envelope a little further in regards to how the blocks are mined, fees, etc. That it is terming it third generation. So, one thing that also sets Cardano apart from other blockchains is that they're banking on the success of crypto as a whole. So what that means is, in the future, they want to allow all other cryptocurrencies to transact on their blockchain. So, to a certain extent, if you believe in just crypto, this might be another more general option for you to invest in as they grow. You'd expect their native currency to also grow in value.
So are they thinking that their blockchain is going to be better than other blockchains?
Yes.
And then, for example, Bitcoin adopts
I think Bitcoin is a bad example.
Okay, yeah.
Because just think of other third generation. So think of like Nano, Polkadot.
Right, okay.
All of these other like...
So say random Polkadot, right?
Yeah,
they decide, we're going to transact on the Cardano blockchain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. So that's
Interesting.
the thinking, which is kind of interesting. Now, speed, which is a really important one in these third generation cryptos, Bitcoin, 4 transactions a second. Ethereum, actually 20 transactions a second. And ADA, 6 transactions a second. So currently it's slower, but they have a path to 1 million transactions a second.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Which is really cool. So it is deflationary. Yeah. So its maximum supply is 45 billion coins, and currently there's about 32 billion. So that's 70% of the total amount that's ever going to be in existence. Bitcoin, as you may remember, it's like about 21 million. I think it's 21.5 million or something like that. And currently there's about 19.8 or something, which is about 90% of its maximum in circulation. So that's cool. It's not like Ethereum, where I think one of the problems with Ethereum potentially is that
They can grow in size.
it's got no cap.
Yeah.
And so I was watching someone talk about it today, and they were saying that they think in future revisions of Ethereum, they'll likely put like a hard cap. But right now that's not there, so it is what it is.
So do you think when it moves to Ethereum 2.0 or something?
No, I don't think so. Well, I don't know. I think it's potentially later than that.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Current price as of 11 o'clock this morning, as you said, it's the 3rd of July, 2021. ADA is $1.80, which is up 1.5% in a 24-hour period. Good. And it's up 18 times since its 52-week low.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Which is about the same time last year. Bitcoin today is at 11 o'clock, 44,500 Australian dollars. This is all Australian dollars, obviously.
Yeah.
Which is down about 1% in a 24-hour period, which is up 4x since its 52-week low. And Nano, just because we've talked about it before, is currently $6.30, which is down 2% in a 24-hour period and up 6x in a 52-week low. So ADA up 18x, Nano 6x, Bitcoin 4x in compared to the 52-week low. So market cap. This actually really surprised me. I think
It's a lot higher than you thought?
Yeah, I think Cardano. Sorry, I often say Cardona, but that's not correct. Cardano.
Grant's getting you confused, yeah.
Cardano has, I think it's really jumped up in the market cap board. So Bitcoin's obviously number one. Do you want to guess what it is?
What Cardano is?
No, Bitcoin.
What the market cap is at the moment? I'm going to say it's, so like at its all-time high, it crossed over $1 trillion.
That's right, yep.
So I'm going to say it's like, I don't know, maybe it got to 1.1 or 1.2 at some point, and I know that it's lost 50% of its value in the last couple of months.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say 650.
840.
840, okay.
Ethereum is 330.
Yep, okay.
ADA, 58 billion, coming in at number 3.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
To put that in perspective, Nano is only 850 million.
Yeah.
As opposed to 58 billion.
Yeah, but do you know what Nano ranks in terms of popularity of?
In terms of on the market cap spectrum?
Yeah.
It's like 51 right now.
Yeah, okay.
But when we did this episode like 3 or 4 weeks ago, it was right down at like, I feel like it was like 80 something.
Cool. There we go.
So
moving up in the world.
That's cool.
Must have been our video.
That's what it would have been.
Yeah.
Okay, so 24-hour volume. ADA did 3 billion Australian dollars, which is 5% of its market cap, which is up 6% in comparison to 24 hours ago.
Okay.
Up 9%, which is quite a lot.
Yeah.
So some increased buying potentially. And Bitcoin in the same period, $35 billion in market volume, which is 4% of its market cap. And that's actually 30% down in comparison to 24 hours ago. So that's interesting. In a 52-week period, ADA has been from 10 cents to $3.30 was its all-time high. 10 cents its low.
And now it's $1.80, you said?
And now it's $1.80. That's right. So it's sort of sitting right in between there. And so that's a 33x to its high in May, which is really interesting. Or $3.20. Bitcoin was $12 to $86, peaked at 86. which is crazy, hey?
Yeah.
Which is about
80
7x.
86 Yeah, it peaked at 86K. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then Nano 90 cents to 23, so 26x. So that's pretty awesome. And a really interesting statistic, I think, is return on investment since its launch. So this is, if you sort of read the white paper and then just bought it straight away, what would your return be? And so for ADA, it would be 62x, which is on a compounded annual growth rate. That is about 2.8 times per year over the 4-year period. So 2.8x your money every year over 4 years.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
If you owned Cardano. Bitcoin, total of 247x, obviously, because it's super expensive.
Yeah.
But it's been around for 12 years, so that's only 1.5x per year over 12 years compounded. And Nano, which is absolutely astonishing, is 528x, almost double the return on investment if you had bought both of them. And it's only 6 years, so it's half the amount of time. Double the amount of return, half the amount of time as Bitcoin. And so that's a 2.8 2.8 times increase each year over 6 years compounded. So that's really interesting. A new statistic, which we haven't talked about before, is number of Reddit members in a community.
Yeah.
So Nano Currency, which is
we talked about that with GME and
did we?
and Wall Street Bets.
Oh, sorry.
But yes, no, sorry.
So Nano Currency, which is Nano's largest community, is 100,000.
Yes. Wow. A big community.
Right. Cardano is 500K, and Bitcoin is 3.2 million. So to paint a better picture, Nano is 3% of the community of Bitcoin, and Cardano is 15% of the community of Bitcoin. So kind of interesting, don't know. So Cardano solves 3 problems. It solves interoperability, which is being able to...
What's that word?
Interoperability.
Interoperability.
Yeah, interoperability.
I don't know. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, keep going. I don't know what that means, but yes.
Well, it's being able to use different products within... being able to seamlessly use different products. So what that means is, like, you know how I said that on their chain they're going to allow transacting of different coins? That's trying to solve this problem. So they believe that they can make different coins function together in the future. And so on the Cardano chain they can see, Polkadot and Nano, whatever. Maybe not, I don't know about Nano, but a bunch of different third generation cryptos all transacting on one blockchain, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So that's the first problem. That problem is we get into a world where we have our value or our net worth stored in different coins, and how do we actually transact that?
Yeah. And so what, are there any advantages to having, like, it's ADA, isn't it? Yeah. Are there any advantages to ADA's price if other cryptos can transact on Cardano?
It's a good question. So what's the moat around their particular crypto that would make you want to use that as opposed to another one?
Yeah.
I don't know, to be honest. It's a good question.
Because I know, like, Visa the other day were transacting on the Ethereum blockchain, but they were transacting the US dollar coin. So I think they've done a lot of testing with that. But
interesting.
Yeah, but it's a US dollar coin is affixed to the US dollar.
Yes.
And it's just a digital crypto that's going to help them settle stuff faster. So yeah, and they're using the Ethereum blockchain to that. But I assume that doesn't push up the price of Ether.
No.
But that's just because they're using the Ethereum
Yeah,
chain.
unless it does, just because people think it should.
Yeah, true.
Anyway, interesting. Okay, that's cool. So the second one is like scalability. So I'll talk about how it actually works. So this is just about transactions per second. So we need to get transactions per second up to be, great numbers for it to be adopted worldwide. So they use a system called Ouroboros.
Ouroboros.
I believe that's what it's called. It's kind of a funny word when you say it. And so they use proof of stake, which we've talked about, which I'll run over really quickly again, instead of proof of work. And their actual blockchain is guaranteed to be secure so long as 51% or more of the stake is held by honest participants. So what that's saying is like one in a terrible situation where one person or a group of people get 49% of the total staked ADA, and they try and do something that's actually not correct, then they can still control it securely as long as 51% of the people have it in an honest wallet. And so wallets themselves can either stake themselves. They can set themselves up with a machine and stake money, or stake ADA, sorry, or they can join staking pools, which is much more common.
Yeah, staking pools.
Because if you're not online,
because you're not going to have a billion.
Exactly, because you
coins,
need to have a certain number of coins before you're actually going to get allocated a block to verify, and you need to have all of your machine and equipment and everything on all the time. And so it's easier to delegate that within a large pool of people. So the network is divided into epochs or epochs. And the way you describe that, the way you spell that word is EPOCH.
Okay.
So it kind of looks like epoch.
Okay, yep.
Okay. But from what I can tell, it's said epochs or epochs. Epochs was kind of what most people were saying. So I'll say epochs. The network, the time in the network is divided into epochs. Okay. So one epoch is equal to about 5 days. Okay. And within the epoch, it's split into slots. And each slot is equal to 1 second.
Yep.
So you have a slot, 1 second. You have an epoch, which is about 5 days. And within the slot, that's the time that one block is created.
Yeah.
So every transaction, 6 of them or whatever it is at the moment, within 1 second is created into a block. Every slot, which is every second. And then the ability to verify that is given out to what are called network assigned slot leaders. So a slot leader is the person who validates the transaction within the slot or multiple transactions. They create the block that stores the data, and then they add the block to the Cardano chain. Cool. And so a slot leader is assigned, and they're the only person who can mine that particular block. So this is where, like, with Bitcoin mining, the main problem with mining is that you've got, like, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of miners all fighting each other on each block to try and hash the most amount of it. And so this is why people have got these big sheds full of stuff, you know. But in this situation, you're allocated a block and you mine it. And it's as simple as that.
And you don't have to compete, so you won't have to
no
have
competition.
Massive, GPUs trying to mine it. Yeah.
So this is kind of mitigating the energy issue that's come up of late. So the reward timeline is a little complicated. Well, it's not complicated. Let me just try and explain it. So we talked about epochs, right? Or epochs. If we take a scenario where we have 5 epochs, epoch number 1, or time 0, is the time in which you can delegate your ADA. So let's say I'm a wallet. I own a bunch of ADA. I can delegate that to a staking pool ready to go so I can earn some interest. We've got 5 epochs, and the first one is the time in which you can delegate your ADA to a staking pool. And then at the end of that 5-day period, it takes a snapshot of the network, and it says, Isaac has his 3 ADA in this particular staking pool. And so it gets into, so that takes a snapshot in the second, at the start of the second epoch. And then in the third, your delegation is active. So in the third epoch, that's the time in which the staking pool that you're in is live and has the potential to be allocated a block to mine. Okay? In the fourth, so that's a 5-day window as well. In the fourth is when the rewards are calculated. And then in the fifth is when the rewards are actually delivered.
Right.
So it's a really elongated period, and you can imagine that this five-stage approach just continues to happen. So what that basically means is when you leave a staking pool, you've still got like another 3 weeks or so, you've still got another 3 epochs worth of rewards that you'll take. In the same way that when I join a staking pool, I've still got to wait like 4 weeks before I'm actually going to see a reward from that.
Right. Long-term investment, hey?
So it's interesting. So rewards and fees are 0.3% of the outstanding ADA reserved, which is about 13 billion. So I said that it was about 70% or something of the total quantity of ADA that are going to be put out into the world. About 13 billion approximately is left. And so 0.3% of that outstanding ADA is paid to the staking pools per epoch as a reward for validating the chain. That's cool. It's highly scalable, and so they can increase the amount of slots per epoch. So right now it's 1 every second. It could be more. They can do multiple epochs in parallel. And as I said before, they're on the path to 1 million transactions per second, which is pretty cool. Network bandwidth is important, and so Cardano uses a protocol called RENA, which is recursive internetwork architecture, which it's like super fancy terminology for basically it splits a network into subnetworks. So instead of having like 1,000 different individual wallets that all have to individually talk to each other, it'll split it up into, 10 groups of 10. And those individual 10 networks, they have the ability to talk to each other. It's actually similar to an internet protocol where information is stored in packets and then transferred, as opposed to sending every individual piece of data. So it's kind of similar. And then the third one that's important for them to consider is sustainability. So they've set up a treasury, which you love treasuries.
I do love treasuries.
Yeah, and you love it. And so
you got me excited now.
I know this treasury. It receives a small percentage of transactions. Okay, so every transaction that happens, this treasury receives just a really, really small percentage of the transaction. I'm not sure what the number is, but it's very small. And it sits in a special wallet, which is not controlled by anyone. And remember, this is coded into the network. And a smart contract releases the funds to developers for improvements to the Cardano protocol.
Okay.
So what happens is there's a proposal submitted. This is all using smart contracts.
Yeah.
There's a proposal submitted to the community with a budget and stuff like that, what it's going to cost. Then the community votes on all these different proposals that different developers are proposing to the community. And then after a period of time elapses, the treasury then funds the winning developers who got the most votes.
Yeah. So should we just like jump back into, so like if we can roll back a minute.
Yes.
A smart contract is, so I heard a pretty good way of explaining it, and I think it's pretty decent. A smart contract is what you do with a vending machine, right? So you like put in the money, and then the money's like held, and you can withdraw it if you don't want anything, and then you press B4, and then the machine is obliged to give you your packet of chips or whatever, and then the contract's finalized. You get the chips out. You've given the money over, and like so, there's some kind of system that's holding in place the money safe for a minute.
Sort of a sequence of events need to happen. Before the end product. Yeah,
and you give the machine the reward, and the machine gives you your product, kind of thing. And so one thing happens, and then two actions are taken. Like you've given money, you've received service, or
totally
whatever. So I think I reckon that's a pretty good way of explaining.
No, I think that's really good.
Yeah,
I think it's really good. And then a little bit about staking data. I'll send you a link. You can maybe put it in the visuals. Again, it's a cool little dashboard showing like network information. So total stake right now is 72% of total outstanding ADA, which is worth 42 billion Australian dollars. That's in staked accounts, so that can't really be used right now. Active pools in existence is over 2,500. With a 99% sync rate in the last hour when I was looking at it. So it's pretty good. And total staked addresses. This is the number of wallets that have their ADA staked. Is over 650,000. And we currently are at epic number 275, which ends in 2 days.
Okay.
And within that epic, we're...
So the epics are, what did you say, 5 day periods?
Yeah.
So there's been 275 5-day periods so far.
Yeah.
In the existence, since 2017 or
yeah.
whatever it was. Yeah, okay, cool.
And slot number within that epic is about, it'd be more than that right now, but it was about 280,000, which is 64% of the epic. So that makes about right sense because they were like at day 3 with 2 days left to go. So that's about right. So yeah, it's kind of cool. I like the fact that one of the founders of Ethereum is working on it. I went on their website, and which was that Hong Kong company that I talked about initially.
Yeah.
And
Input Output
Hong Kong.
Yeah.
I was blown away with it just felt like super smart.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know.
I'm also on that website.
Are you?
But I don't think it's working very well for me because we're too far away from the... it just looks blank.
Yeah. So that's the thing.
Oh, it is supposed to be blank. Is there supposed to be something in the middle?
Yeah, something happened. Hey.
Oh, you have to click.
How cool is this?
Oh, that is actually very cool.
How cool is that?
I'm going to put a
we'll
screen
show a visual
recording.
of this, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's so fun.
How fun is that?
What's the point of it?
There's no point, which is kind of cool.
Okay, yeah, right. All right.
And then you can click on the tabs at the top.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Can I say something else about companies from Hong Kong?
Yes.
They love to, or, Hong Kong, Taiwan, all that kind of thing. They have very literal names that end in... So,
oh, yeah.
HSBC is something to do with Hong Kong, but ICBC, which is another thing that Chinese companies in Hong Kong and Taiwan companies love to call their bank.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's ICBC, which is International Commercial Bank of China. And then there's Mega ICBC, which is Mega International.
And they're not affiliated.
Yeah, and they're different companies.
That's funny.
And there's heaps of good ones.
True.
Yeah. Anyway.
So there's two websites that you need to check out. I'll talk about them with the assumption that there'll be a video here.
Yes.
So the first one is actually super cool. Maybe I'll show you here so that we can get you reacting to it.
Okay. All right.
You'll actually love this.
Okay.
So let's see what this is. So this is Bitcoin and Ethereum blockchain live transaction visualizer.
Okay.
So each transaction is a little person, and they fill up buses which represent blocks.
All right.
You ready for this?
What's the website called?
TX Street. The
currently loading.
Yeah.
Just to update the listeners, we're live listening to a website.
We'll cut this bit out.
No. We're not going to cut it.
Oh no. So Pool Tool is Cardano's dashboard. It's basically the dashboard. You can see their staking information. Here we go.
Oh, here we go.
How good's
this? This is heaps funny. Okay, so there's a game called... no, I've forgotten the name of the game. Never mind. Prison Architect. There's a game called Prison Architect.
Okay.
And you control little prisoners kind of thing. You build a new fence, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So this is like that in combination with South Park, something like that. Yeah, all little funny little people getting onto buses full of Bitcoin, hey?
Oh, Bitcoin just went offline.
Oh no! Should have been screen recording. Sorry.
Look, you can see all the people on the bus.
Yeah. Oh, that's heaps funny. What? And so this is Cardano here?
No, sorry, this is not related to Cardano.
Oh, this is just a cool website.
That's Ethereum over there.
Oh, and you click which
and this is Bitcoin.
currency you want?
And you can only choose between these: Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, Monero, and Bitcoin.
Right.
So anyway, I thought it was cool.
No, that's fun.
And then this is that's not loading.
Pooltool.io.
Yeah. So anyway,
tell me what
the
it
links
does.
are in my description. So
Okay. Well, tell us what we do, and then what does it do?
What does what do?
Pooltool.io.
Yeah. Well, that's where I got all my information on the staking stuff. So that's where I found out what epic they were at.
Yep.
What slot within that epic, stuff like that. So it's a really cool way to just see live data on the network.
Now you may speak.
So that is Cardano. That's ADA. I think it's cool. I own a little bit, not that much.
One of your many crypto holdings.
I don't have that many.
Gigantic
I think
portfolio.
This is a good question. I think I have 5, maybe 6.
Okay.
Yeah. This
Diversified
is one of
portfolio.
them. But
Interesting.
Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin.
Dogecoin. You have Dogecoin?
Sorry, yeah, only a little bit.
Or if you're old, Doggy Coin.
Nano, Cardano.
Yep.
And I have a random 6 one, which we'll talk about at some point.
Do you remember when we were on the boat episode? I don't know if it was episode 9 maybe.
Yeah.
And I was like, you said, "Oh, do you have any more content?" And I was like, "Not really, unless you want to talk about Dogecoin." And then we had a good laugh because like no one was really we weren't a cryptocurrency podcast then. Anyway, with how the times have changed,
how
the tables have turned,
how the
turns have tabled. Wow. Amazon's data centers, Xbox controllers, Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, PlayStation 5s, the 2021 Mercedes-Benz Formula 1 car, Apple Macs, Apple MacBook Pros, and this laptop right here. What do they all have in common?
They're all electric.
They all use AMD's chips.
You love AMD.
Yeah, so here we go. That's what my company is going to be for the day.
Cool.
Going into the old stocks.
I like it.
To the old stonk section. So AMD, Advanced Micro Devices.
Yes.
So they have two. That's what I'm going to be talking about today. They have two main kind of products.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one is.
I thought it was Advanced Micro.
Advanced Micro Delinquent people who are sitting next to me. I
have to remember to beep that. Yeah.
Yep. Not the other one.
But I'll beep that as well so they know what you're saying.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so anyway, they make so I
Yes.
didn't actually realize that it's pretty much a two product, not a two product business, but two product category business.
Okay.
So CPUs and GPUs.
Yep.
And so what that means is, so we'll go down here. So CPUs.
I reckon we should go down there.
Yeah. CPUs are central processing units.
Yes, I've heard that.
A central processing unit does all the general tasks on your
Yep.
computer.
Yep.
And a GPU is a graphics processing unit. So a graphics processing unit does all the specialized tasks on your computer, like gaming, editing videos, doing design work, and mining Bitcoin. So if you like to do that kind of thing, I don't know who would want to do that, but there's mining for any kind of cryptos really. So you'd use a GPU.
Yeah. Cool. Okay.
So AMD, a breakdown of their revenue, they have 61% of their revenue comes from consumer products.
Okay.
And 39% comes from enterprise products.
Wow.
So it's pretty good. I think it's a pretty good mix.
Yeah.
Considering that they're in a lot of... So the Apple MacBook Pro uses it in their larger...
That does really show how many non-consumer products they're in.
Yeah.
Because as you're saying, there's just so many consumer products.
Yeah. And
wow, that's incredible.
And so yeah, they've got a very diversified stream of clients, which is really good.
Yep.
So there's currently, one thing to note is, and you might have heard of this, there's currently a global shortage of chips.
Yes, I have heard of that.
So demand's shot up exponentially in 2020.
Global shortage of chippies.
Well, I didn't make any jokes in your segment. No, it's good. So yeah, 2020 and 2021. So obviously there's been a virus on, if you haven't heard.
Yep.
And so car manufacturers, appliance manufacturers, gaming consoles, they're all struggling to source chips.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's been a huge shift to work from home as well.
Yes,
so
that's
that's
right.
been a lot of consumer products, laptops, phones
Yeah.
that everyone would have upgraded.
Yeah, cool.
So
true.
everyone who typically wouldn't have upgraded their, there are people out there, apparently, Nathan, that don't upgrade their laptop for like a good 5 years.
Really?
But when they, I'm just making general broad assumptions, but when they, have to work from home for the next year,
Yeah, you gotta rely on it.
it's like, oh, well, I better actually,
Yeah.
get something new.
Yeah.
So demand for semiconductor products, according to Bloomberg, is currently 30% greater than supply.
Really?
So that's a big
Wow.
kind of shift. So I'm going to go into some of the products here. So so CPUs, and I think this is a product type. So And I want to make sure to let the audience know that I'm not actually an expert in IT-related products, but I think this will go well.
Okay.
But I'll come across as one, so it's fine.
Perfect.
So the x86 microprocessor is the specific
that's one of my favorites.
semiconductor market. Well, that's the market. That's not even a
Oh.
that's not a product type. So that's what the market that
good
AMD.
market, that one.
That's AMD and Intel that
Yes.
are both always kind of competing for CPU. So CPU
Yeah, right.
being the general thing that goes
Yes.
in your laptop. So AMD actually overtook Intel for market share in the CPU space in desktops
Mm-hmm.
in Q1 2021.
Okay.
So AMD had a market share of desktop CPUs of 50.8%.
Oh.
So obviously Intel's the only other one that's doing the exact thing.
Yeah.
But of the total CPU market, AMD has 39.4% of the CPU market.
Gotcha.
And Intel has 60%. So that's pretty cool that they overtook in a specific kind of category.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing to note there, if you look at, as I was talking about just before, Apple MacBooks, right?
Yes.
There's Apple MacBooks have like, and I don't know what they're doing with their new Apple chip that they're developing and whatever yet, but at the moment they've got Intel CPUs
Yes.
and then AMD
GPUs.
GPUs.
Really?
So
That's
they've
interesting.
got, and it's the same with this. This has got an Intel i7 CPU
Yep.
and an AMD
Gotcha.
Radeon GPU. So AMD's best chip in the CPU space.
Mm-hmm.
From what I can see, their current best consumer CPU product is the Ryzen 9 5950X.
Yes.
Right? So that has 16 CPU cores,
Mm-hmm.
which is very impressive.
Is it?
That's a lot of cores compared to.
I suppose it is a lot.
So yeah, quad core used to be like
Yeah.
a big. Well, when I say used to be, it's probably still a pretty big thing.
Yeah.
So quad core is most things.
I wonder what this is.
So yeah, 16 CPU cores. It's
Mine's
got
quad core.
Yeah, there you
I'm
go.
Intel processing and graphics.
So this one, I think this one here, I paid a lot to get 6 cores.
Wow.
So 16 is their current best. With
Gee.
a base of 3.4 gigahertz and a max boost up to 4.9 gigahertz.
Wow.
So that's essentially each core has a certain power level kind of thing.
Yep.
And so it's kind of like, and this is very rough, but the number of cores times the power is kind of how good your CPU is.
Mm-hmm.
So then Intel's Core i9 Extreme Edition has, with a lot of numbers behind it, XE. It has 18 cores, so it's got 2 more cores. It's got 36 threads as opposed to 32 before.
Yes.
Should we wait a minute?
Ah, continue.
Okay. And it's got a base of 3 gigahertz. So it's less than the AMD's 3.4.
Yep.
With a max boost of 4.6, which is less than AMD's 4.9.
Yes.
So that's an interesting comparison there. So in saying that, I think AMD's ahead on power, but it's managed to kind of cram 2 less cores into their chip,
Mm-hmm.
into their top spec product. From what I can see there, I don't really think there's a winner or a loser. I think that, and I don't know specifically, like I'm sure that there is a technical winner or whatever there,
Mm-hmm.
but it seems fairly evenly matched with both of those, comparisons there.
Question.
Yes.
When you say gigahertz,
Yeah.
my understanding of hertz is it's like a measurement of...
Power?
no. Like a measurement of like speed.
Okay.
So when you talk about like hertz, 1 hertz is like... Usually it's like...
Well, it's
one-
it's frequency, isn't it? Though?
Well, it's 1 oscillation per second is 1 hertz.
Okay. Yes, you're right. Yeah.
So, would it possibly... Maybe that... I guess that does mean how... Like it's
but
like...
I think it's per. I think, and I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that the number of hertz is like times the number of cores is how fast your.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's like it's processing power, which I guess is why it's called processing power.
Yeah. So
But
AMD.
That's how fast it operates.
Yeah. So AMD's got 16 cores times 3.4 essentially. It's
Gotcha.
like that, and then Intel's got 18 cores
Yeah.
times 3 gigahertz.
And
it's
that
like, say.
the output of that is how powerful it is.
Yeah, so
Yeah, that
there will
makes a
be
lot of
one.
sense.
So there's one that's more powerful than the other.
Yes.
I think it's potentially the AMD.
Yeah.
I don't know 100%. I don't know the actual maths to work out.
Yeah.
Which is because it's obviously not just times. Well, maybe it is just times. I don't know. But yeah. So anyway, that's their CPUs. So it seems pretty evenly matched there.
We're not IT experts though.
Yeah, we're not. We're definitely not.
You did
I know more than
Your dad
someone
does-
who doesn't know.
Your dad does own an IT
anything.
company.
Yeah, but you know, I don't know anything. It's not genetic. Knowledge.
Okay.
So then GPUs. So this is an interesting one. So
Yeah.
on CPUs, AMD's biggest competitor is Intel, obviously.
Yep.
But on GPUs, AMD's biggest competitor is NVIDIA.
NVIDIA.
Or NVIDIA, or however you want to
NVIDIA,
pronounce it.
also a public company.
Also a public company. Also a massive, massive company.
Yeah.
They are bigger than Intel. They're 500 billion, I think, is their
Really?
market cap, which is very surprising since I thought that they only made graphics cards, and I still think they only make graphics
I
cards.
thought that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
There's a lot of screens around nowadays.
true. That's yeah.
But yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, how big is gaming? You know, I don't know. That's yeah. Anyway, it's pretty cool. So AMD
Very cool.
Radeon series
Yes,
is
I've heard of that.
what this one is. So they're kind of behind compared to NVIDIA's GeForce RTX brand, which is the
I've
top.
heard of that too. I've seen it on a box.
Yes, you definitely would have seen it on the box. But all right, so AMD's best Radeon GPU is the 6900 XT, which
Okay.
is just a product name. So you know, don't get too excited.
Yeah.
And
I wasn't.
then and then Nvidia's RTX GeForce 3090 is the best kind of thing. So putting those together, AMD's got the
Such helpful information.
yeah. Well, you know. Oh, don't get you know.
Sorry, keep going. It's
I'm
funny.
not going to keep going. No, okay.
You're leaving. Don't leave.
I'm walking away. I wish. Oh no. Anyway, back onto it. So the key. I think that the key difference here is I found it way harder to compare graphics cards, like to kind of figure out what is going on with graphics cards.
Yeah.
So AMD's cheaper with a $1,300 top of the line graphics card.
Okay.
Nvidia has its top of the line is $2,000. This is in USD.
And you're kind of just assuming that they're similar?
So one key advantage, and I don't know how much difference this makes at this high end.
Yes.
Nvidia's GPU has a memory of 24 gigabytes,
Right.
which is apparently super useful for people that are making games.
Okay.
And then AMD's is 16 gigabytes.
Right.
But I don't think that matters. I think they both seem to be able to run at ultra high speed gaming. Like they can both play 4K
Yes.
games, right?
Yes.
With very high graphics.
So from the consumer side of it, they're comparable?
From the consumer side of it, they're comparable. So from what I can see, AMD is closing the gap on NVIDIA.
Ah.
So they're getting better and better, and NVIDIA's getting like slightly better, you know.
Yeah.
So AMD is like rapidly kind of closing.
Good old AMD.
Their products recently, so like this is their top of the line thing. It's been released 6 months ago, so it's this year's model, and it's been upgraded with a 3-fan solution instead of a 1-fan to make it run faster.
They love 3 fans.
And yeah, as far as I can tell, it's not as good as the NVIDIA, but it's getting very close.
Okay.
Like you look at some of so there's specific types of rendering, basically, like there's frames per second on reflections and same frames per second on this kind of scene, you know, or whatever. So like comparing the frames per second, they're literally like, oh, this one's 490 versus this one's 520, you know? So it's like, oh, this is just stupidly fast. Like you don't need to watch it at 590 for...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just proving how good it is.
Okay.
And then there's also, this is another type of product, APUs, which are accelerated processing units.
Oh, wow.
Which are a combination of both of those. They're for cheap laptops with low power.
Oh, really?
So that's a cheap, that's a combo of CPU and GPU.
Oh,
They're
gotcha. It just does it all.
Yeah, but they're not as good as either.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they're for like off-brand.
Yeah. Jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah, that's it. So I want to delve a little bit into the history of AMD here, Nathan.
Yeah, I like it.
So founded in 1969, which is
so old.
I didn't realize it was this old because it seems it's got a little bit of a hype around it. So
Yeah, I
it's
agree.
kind of like, oh, this is a 2012 kind of company.
Feels
you know?
a bit youthful, but
Definitely.
obviously it's not. Jeez.
Yeah, so IPO'd in 1972, which is 3 years after that.
Right.
And then in the 80s, AMD were manufacturing chips for Intel. And in 1991, AMD launched its own chip.
Yep.
They bought ATI Technologies for $5.4 billion in 2006,
Wow.
which is how they got into graphics cards.
Okay.
That's the first kind of graphics card situation they had there.
Right.
They sold their chip manufacturing in 2008, and they employed a new CEO named Rory Reid in 2011, which is when the stock reached $2, which is their company was almost bankrupt. There were talks
So
of...
they don't make their own chips?
I believe... So what I believe that the process is that they have like specific contractors that are they're not their companies, but it's like they have one client who is AMD kind of thing. And so I believe it's very much and I'm not 100% sure. Maybe they've bought back manufacturing since then. Yeah, so I'm not sure who actually manufactures it, but the way that it's framed in their history is, we sold off this to focus on chip design, and they facilitate it, they make it their own, like it's their own intellectual property, all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
So yeah, they reached $2. They almost bottomed out completely. In October 2014, they appointed Dr. Lisa Su as their president and CEO.
Oh, so when you say they reached $2, it got down to $2?
It got all the way down to $2.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it was a very tragic kind of situation there.
Rory.
So yeah, they 2014 they got their current president and CEO, who is Dr. Lisa Su.
Okay.
Which is where the big turnaround kind of started to happen.
Nice.
So the stock price was about $2.68 when she was appointed there, and in 2017 they launched their Ryzen series, which is the current line of CPUs. Yep. And then Radeon is the GPU series kind of thing. They've also got the enterprise sides of both of those. So I'm not sure what those product lines are called, but there's a couple of different product lines there. Yep. And one of the key reasons for AMD's success, according to Lisa Su, is that they think 3 to 5 years in advance on product planning, and then invest heavily into the smaller units with the more improved processing power. So she's kind of anticipating the demand 3 to 5 years, which is why in 2014, started thinking heavily about what they could do to keep, to really grow the brand and
that's good.
To get it out of that hole kind of thing. But it was a really long-term solution.
She sounds very strategic.
Definitely, yeah. That's so she said that something that the last year's taught them as well is that they can turn on a dime.
Hey.
So keeping AMD very agile is one of her key kind of points, which is cool. Yep. In January 2021, AMD did a deal with Samsung to provide their mobile processing units with a Samsung-branded Exynos processor, which is just a Samsung brand of processor, but AMD is making them. Yep. Essentially. In one of AMD's newest customers, as of June 2021, is Tesla.
Hey.
Which will use AMD's CPUs and GPUs in the infotainment systems.
Do you know if they're only using AMD, or is it just...
I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
But CPUs and GPUs makes it sound like it's only AMD, which is cool. Yeah. Something to consider with AMD's market share against Intel. So they had 50.8% of the desktop PC processors. Is that Intel has a 7 times higher R&D budget and 10 times the number of employees.
Whoa.
So AMD have 12,600 employees and Intel have 110,000.
Whoa.
So
so that could be the difference between making new chips and not?
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, 12,600, it sounds like they're contracting the people to make them, and
Definitely
Intel sounds like it does them in-house.
Yeah, that sounds
sort
like
of thing. So, going into a bit of the financials.
Yes, take us there.
So this is all in the trailing 12-month numbers. So the last 1 year revenue growth was 57.6%. So they grew revenue. So March 2020 was 7.2 billion. And March 2021 was 11.4 billion. So they've upped the revenues there.
That's huge for that age company.
Yeah, definitely. So it has been a huge time for people working from home and needing all those products and kind of the demand there, and as well as the shortages.
Yeah, the old brought forward demand sort of thing, where they're not going to be able to sustain that sort of growth into the coming years.
One thing to keep in mind is, yes, they're an old company, but that doesn't mean they're a slow conglomerate, General Electric, GM,
West Farmers.
that kind of thing. Yeah, so last 1 year earnings growth though.
Yeah.
So we had revenue growth of 57%.
Yeah.
Last year's earnings growth is 493.9%. So they've grown. March 2020 profit was.
So they make profit.
Yeah. So March 2020's profit was 487 million.
Do they pay dividends?
No. Well, maybe they do, but most American companies don't really. But but yes, I'm fairly sure they don't.
Okay.
But their March 2021 profit, you'll see why in a second.
Okay. Yep.
Their March 2021 profit was 2.8 billion. So they've gone from 400 million to 2.8.
When was 400 million? Sorry.
400 million was March 2020.
2020. Okay.
Yeah. 2021,
Wow.
they've gone up to 2.8 bill. So
Whoa.
they've gone to a current net profit margin of 25%,
Really?
which is very neat.
That's awesome.
It's a very healthy margin.
Yep.
And it's a huge difference to 2016 when AMD was making losses. So they started to turn a profit after 2016.
Yes.
Basically.
Yeah.
So definitely a huge change.
Yes.
The share price is up 3,400% since Lisa Su joined the company in October 2014.
Wow. That's good for her if she got like stock options straight away.
Definitely, yeah. It would have been good. The whole ride would have been very nice for getting options along the go. Yeah, so
Nice.
the current price is $94.70.
Wow.
I think it has gone over 100 before, but we've had obviously a bit of a volatile period in the last couple of months.
Drawn back a bit.
So that's from the 2nd of July close. That it was 94.70.
Yep.
So a market cap of 115 billion at the moment.
Okay. What did you say was 500? Didn't you say one of these companies was 500 billion?
Oh yeah, that was Nvidia.
Nvidia.
Nvidia,
And
yeah.
this is 100 odd.
Yes, and it'd be interesting to see. I don't know what Intel's is, but it'd be interesting to compare that as well.
It would.
So yeah, they've announced a $4 billion buyback, which was very recently announced.
Yep.
So instead of doing a dividend, that's a very American kind of thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe taxes are lower on capital gains than they are on dividends, which is why they do that in America, as opposed to here where they would pay a dividend because taxes are lower on dividends than capital gains sometimes. Like, depends.
Yep.
But that'll obviously push the price up, and that's to show confidence in the company and where they're going.
Yeah.
So this has been the first buyback the company's done since 2001.
Oh wow.
So it's a pretty cool way to show that
So when they do a buyback, maybe we should talk about this for a sec.
Yeah.
So they offer all of their current shareholders the opportunity to buy all of their shares back? Like, do you know the details? Have you ever been a part of a buyback or?
No, a buyback is just buying. They just buy their own shares and push the price up.
So not current shares on the market?
No, they buy the current shares on the market.
Yeah, so from current shareholders.
Yeah, but just in the market though. So they'll just push it up.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So they don't. Okay, so it's not
like a share split.
So they don't send you a letter saying, "Hey, we'll buy back your shares at X price."
No, they
Oh, really?
They just go and start. Well, I'm
they
pretty
just
sure,
start buying it.
Yeah, so a lot of American companies,
I
I
don't know.
believe, just start buying their own stock.
Gotcha. Oh, that's cool. I mean, that's good clarification. I didn't know that's how it worked. See, I was sort of picturing it like, you know how like sometimes Qantas will send you a letter and they'll be like, oh.
Yeah, but we do heaps of funny share price action things.
Okay.
But I believe that they just straight up go and buy
Gotcha.
their own stock.
I'm sure they do.
And yeah, just push that up.
Gotcha.
So yeah,
Cool.
$4 billion buyback, which will push it all up. So
That's great.
That's pretty cool. There's also an acquisition in process of, and this is going to be the wrong pronunciation potentially. It's called Xilinx. So
Xilinx.
Well, that's how I assume it's pronounced. I haven't actually heard anyone.
Okay.
But Xilinx Inc. So their ticker is XLNX, and
That's public.
Yeah, so they're
Alright.
they'll be, while we're on the pronunciation, say Chamath's last name.
Palahapitides.
Nice. So
I don't know. I think that's right, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, that's fine. You got it that time, but you said it with confidence, and that's what made me believe it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Xilinx, yes, that's what we're that's what we're
That is
buying.
actually the way to go.
Yeah. So so that will be for $35 billion, the acquisition.
Okay.
which is about 30. Well, it's about 30% of their 115 market cap, or I think their market cap at the moment, 115 billion.
Oh yeah.
So acquiring that will give.
That's large.
Yeah, it's quite a large quite a large acquisition, but acquiring that will give AMD access to Xilinx's data center business.
Do you know what these people do?
Yeah, so
Did you say that?
I'm not 100% sure,
Okay,
but
that's right.
it seems that they're also they're doing more enterprise versions of data centers and clients, that kind of thing.
Yeah, cool.
So they have a data center business apparently.
Sick.
And it'll also give them a larger portion of enterprise clients in telecommunications, automotive, aerospace, and defense.
Mm-hmm.
So those areas are where they'll get the clients from. Mm-hmm. On the 30th of June, AMD received its final approval from the UK's Competition and Markets Authority, as well as the European Commission, to acquire the company Xilinx. And
just call it by its ticker.
yes, Xilinx.
Perfect.
That's what it is. And the AMD EPYC, which is EPYC processor. This is also in what's currently kind of happening. Future share movements. Current predictions. So their EPYC processor will be in HP's newest enterprise storage software.
Yep.
So that'll be enabling that. So I assume that is more that's more data center kind of stuff. HP's data center side of the business. Yep. And those processors will be what's keeping HP's enterprise storage stuff alive. So it's it's all good. I think it's a lot of really good prospects. You got to consider chip storage, like shortage, catching up to Intel, catching up to Nvidia. They're acquiring this new company. They're fast and agile, as we've kind of seen. They've had thousands of % growth in the last 5 years. They had between 4 and 5, they pretty much had like 3 billion in revenue sort of thing in 2016ish kind of area. They went 3, 4, 5, and then like 7. And then 11 point whatever. So it's really, I think that the investment initially into the R&D and all that kind of thing, there, and as well as that, it's interesting that they can do, like I was saying before, 7 times. Did I say 7 times? Intel spends 7 times more on R&D than AMD does. So the fact that they're able to catch up to Intel and Nvidia with such a lightweight budget and still manage and less staff. And so, as well as the 25% profit margin, it's shown as well that as they're scaling, because a couple of years ago the profit margin was 6%, and then it was like 10%.
It's becoming more efficient.
So they literally grow as they grow. It's the perfect scaling system. So I really like the stock. I bought some in 2019.
Did you?
For about $32.
No.
And so I bought some then. I bought a fair bit in 2020 for about $83, and then it kind of ducked back down to 60ish range. True. But now it's at 94.70. So I believe every stock that I've bought has been profitable. Maybe I've bought some at 100. I'm not 100% sure, but it's
every stock of their company.
Every stock that I have of their company has
not
been
every stock
profitable.
you've ever bought.
Every stock.
Because I know that's not true.
Especially Nicola.
And Doe.
Doe.
We should talk about Doe.
We should.
There's nothing to talk about. Well, there is something now.
No, there is something to talk about now. They have a product.
Actually, it's related to this.
I didn't even know what they were working on, and I have plenty of it. So. But I was like, it was a pleasant surprise.
They got bought. They got bought by a company. You remember? And the owner.
Are you talking about Goodments?
Maybe. Do you remember listening to that podcast and the guy who was speaking on the podcast was like, yeah, I own this company, blah, blah, blah. We just bought this small company in Australia called Doe. Do you remember?
I don't remember that.
Oh, I should have sent it to you.
Yeah.
Okay, doesn't matter.
Anyway, AMD is good.
True. Yeah. Okay, great. I don't own it, but maybe I should. I don't know. Okay, so in the theme of trying to learn new things, teach new things, talk about
that's what we're doing.
Concepts.
Yep.
Which last time you talked about ETFs, and that was really awesome. And so I thought, well, for those, I've talked to a few people recently, and they're like, yeah, I like the concept of being exposed to the stock market or investing in the stock market or whatever, but I don't know how to do it. Most people I talk to are using Commsec because that, maybe they're with the Commbank and that's the next most simple alternative. And so I thought maybe we could quickly talk about a few brokers here in Australia specifically, because it'll get out of hand if we talk about every country.
Yeah.
And maybe you could give us some thoughts even in your personal experience, and I'll give you a little bit of information that I've looked up. And then maybe we can just give, our recommendation or something.
Sounds good.
Okay, cool. So the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6.5. The top 6.5 brokers.
6.5 brokers? What is this half broker thing? All right, you
no,
go.
No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
How do
1, 2, 3,
I'm still
4,
confused about
5,
how you get
6,
half a
7.
broker.
7. No, 7.
Okay, 7. Okay, cool.
The top.
I think what comes after 6? 6.5.
It does. Top 7 brokers here in Australia that I could find. This is debatable because there's other ones popping up here and there. One that Doe started. So, which is a company called Doe that Isaac and I both have a small investment in. And they recently got bought by a company. Did they get bought by Goodments, or is Goodments their product?
I thought Goodments was their product.
Goodments their product, right? They got bought by some random conglomerate.
Okay, I didn't know that, but...
Yeah, so they did. I definitely know that. I just
Okay.
don't know what it's called. And so they have released a new product into Australia, which is basically just giving Australians exposure to the US market, right? And they call it Goodments.
Yes,
I think.
I
and
believe
it's like a
that's-
pretty
I believe that's
aesthetic
what it
looking
is.
app for
Yeah.
your phone. It's probably similar to like Robinhood vibe, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I haven't included that because it's really new. But anyway, so
What about Spaceship? Did you do Spaceship?
no, I did Superhero,
Superhero, okay.
Interactive Brokers,
Yeah.
Selfwealth,
Yeah.
Stake,
Yeah.
Commsec, CMC Markets, E-Torro.
Oh, interesting. E-Toro.
What a-
I don't know anyone that uses E-Toro in
Neither,
Australia.
but it comes up on all of my YouTube.
It's constantly
videos.
advertising to me. Yeah. Yeah.
Is there any that you can think of that I haven't mentioned?
Spaceship.
I've never heard of that.
It's one where I was actually listening to Motley Fool Money, the Australian
Oh, yeah.
Motley Fool,
Yeah.
and they were talking about how they were talking about Spaceship and saying like, oh yeah, but it's like $5 trades. This is why $5 trades are bad, and
Right.
they're old blokes that
Yeah.
are rich as and like
Yes.
so they're a bit out of touch, I think.
I think so.
But they were saying, yeah, here's why $5 trades are bad.
Yes.
It encourages too much trading. Everyone, turns over. Everyone's
Right.
constantly trading money.
Yeah.
We want $20 trades.
Oh, wow.
And they're just way out of touch.
Okay.
So but they both use like Commsec or something like. Oh, so sorry. One of them uses Commsec. One of them uses Charles Schwab, which isn't even available in Australia anymore, really.
Yeah,
So I
right.
think it's just a big. He must have a lot of money if
Yeah.
he's using Charles Schwab in Australia. So
Right. Okay.
yeah,
So no more. Okay, so
they're basically doing over-the-counter trades for him, if like
gotcha.
from New York.
Yeah.
Like that's how. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Anyway,
I guess that's what it's like to have your own podcast.
I guess so. That's basically our life. If you have to, every day I wake up, I call my broker, say 24 million into Cardano.
And he's like, "What's that?" And you're like, sorry, wrong guy."
Sorry, yep, wrong broker. Yeah.
Okay, so I think when we're trying to analyze brokers, I think there's a few things that are important, and they differ as you progress in your financial journey. But I think this is tailored towards people who are just getting into it. So I'm not going to overcomplicate this. So the products that are offered,
Yeah.
whether it being US shares, Australian shares, and then any additional crypto, even maybe on the same thing.
Yeah.
Fees,
Yeah.
really important one. When you're starting out, maybe you're not sure what you're doing. If you've got a lot of $20 trades and you're trading in and out, you can easily just lose money straight away.
Yeah.
Like user experience or
Yeah.
the visual aspect, usability of their products. And then I've got a couple of other random notes. But they're
What
the main
about-
three things.
Oh.
What?
Well, I think the most important thing over all of those would
What?
be chess sponsorship.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So there's a back end system. So chess sponsorship, when we buy an Australian share,
Mm-hmm.
it's different from when we buy an American share.
Mhm.
Because when you buy an American share, you don't really hold you don't ever own the underlying share.
Mm-hmm.
You own some kind of top piece of paper or whatever that kind of says that you own the share.
Yeah.
When you own a share on the ASX in Australia, if you buy it with a CHESS-sponsored broker, that means that the broker can fully go out of business. The trust behind the broker can go out of business.
I see.
Every possible thing can go out of business, and you still hold the share.
Gotcha.
Whereas if you buy an American thing, if the broker goes down, you've still got the trust to kind of fall back on. I'm not 100% sure about the full legal structure of the US system, and then they've got like the trust behind it or whatever, and if that kind of goes down, it's sort of like, oh, you kind of left stuck. I think in American terms.
Interesting.
Not 100% sure if that's exactly accurate to America, but I know that chess sponsorship is important in Australia because it's kind of it's an extra layer of protection and saying, no, this share is government guaranteed that you own this share kind of thing. And so some brokers are chess sponsored and some brokers aren't chess sponsored.
Gotcha.
So Selfwealth is chess sponsored and cheap, which makes it better than, well, I believe it's cheap. I don't 100% know.
Yeah.
But which makes it better than Commsec, which is chess sponsored and expensive, but really trusted. So that's one key thing. And Spaceship was the $5 one, which is not chess sponsored.
Yeah.
Which is how they got their trades to be so cheap.
I assume that's probably similar to Superhero.
Yeah.
They also market free trade. $5 trades.
Yeah. So hang on, let me. Yeah. You keep going, but I'll look up Super. I didn't mean to say hang on.
No, that's actually really good. That's actually awesome. So, in regards to products, I think the main thing when you're first starting out is.
Here we go. So, sorry, Superhero is custodian model rather than chess sponsored model. So if it's custodian, that means that it's
Right.
Anyway, yeah.
What about E-Torro?
E-Torro, like I would assume isn't just because it's American, but I have no idea.
Yeah.
Is E-Torro?
So the question is,
E-Torro doesn't have chess sponsorship.
Ah. What about CMC Markets?
CMC Markets would, I believe, but that's just from like knowledge about what CMC is. But yes, CMC Markets is chess sponsored. So there you go.
Interesting. Okay. What about Interactive Brokers?
Interactive, I believe, also is.
I really like Interactive Brokers. So if I was to give my quick analysis here, eToro's eToro's big thing is they have the social trading platform, which like allows users to copy strategies from like kind of more famous traders.
Oh, they're not. Interactive is not chess sponsored.
Really?
There you go.
Okay. Have you seen that on eToro? Like on all of their YouTube ads, it's like Gary just copied.
Oh, you copy trades. Yeah.
So that's their big thing.
Sorry, that's eToro?
Yes.
Is what's the other one? Selfwealth. That's similar, isn't it?
Do they do that as well?
Oh, I thought they did. Everyone's got like a little profile.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah.
eToro just pump it hard.
Yeah.
CMC Markets is really cool.
There's a really funny eToro ad with Alec Baldwin. And he's like,
I've seen that.
Are you rich yet? No, you're not, because you've been watching this YouTube ad or whatever. He's like,
So funny. Actually, so funny.
Yeah.
It's funny they did that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I also get ads for plus 500 all the time, which say like, oil is going, like, oh no, oil is crashing. Oh, oil's going up. And then it goes, make the most of market trends when you see them,
Sounds stressful.
But it's just someone, he's watching the news and it's like, oil is down, oil is up, that kind of thing,
gotcha.
Which is the opposite of what you should be doing, which is no research.
Yeah.
You should definitely be
like it's on TV.
Buy. Yeah, that's literally what they're doing in the ad. It's actually terrible. But yes, anyway. I'm fully derailing your segment here.
No,
sorry.
it's good. It's just a conversation.
It's a discussion, yeah.
It's a discussion.
Yeah.
And it's healthy discussion, that's good. So CMT Markets, they've got a good app, and the feel of the website and stuff is pretty professional. There's like a bunch of news articles, but it appears to be a little more complicated, in my opinion. It's well designed, but just the appearance of it feels a little bit more overwhelming than some other platforms. Their trades are $11 Australian or 0.1%. And you can do a phone brokerage, so you can call them up.
Yeah.
$60 is their phone brokerage fee.
Wow.
And if you want to trade exotic stocks, so this is like stocks in like random countries that they offer, they can do that, but it's $60 a trade.
Yeah,
which is huge.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. You can go up into like a higher tier level, so you can subscribe and pay, some money, and then you can do 990 trades.
One thing that's different about CMC you should mention is that instead of doing options I'm sure I don't know if they do options or not, but instead of doing all the options and all that kind of thing, their derivative that you can trade is called contracts for difference, CFDs. Mm. Which is
so they do have options, and you're right, you can apply to open a CFD account.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. They also have Forex and commodities. And so it looks cool, like we've talked about it before. They also have CMC Markets Pro. I'm not sure if you've ever seen it. And you can get a free account. It gives you 20 minutes delay, but it gives you like pretty in-depth like technical analysis abilities on charting and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it's kind of cool. Anyway, moving along, you can pay $40 to get live data for that. Anyway, Commsec is people's go-to.
That's definitely the most common one.
Yeah, you can only buy Australian stocks. CMC you can buy international. Up to $5,000, $20 trades. Up to $10,000, 30.
And
up to
$10 trades for under $1,000.
Gotcha.
So
okay. In my opinion, the user experience is pretty bad. It's not really aesthetic, and it's just kind of just functional. Like it just kind of does its thing.
This is something that's really interesting that I've often, I don't know. I feel like I disagree with you.
Okay.
Not in terms of like, I don't know. Yes, it definitely looks worse. But here's something that's super funny that heaps of like web designers and all that kind of thing kind of say is that if the UI and heaps of like finance guys, if the UI is really bad, it's like a really good piece of like enterprise software, and if the UI is really good, it's likely like the back end. They've spent all their time focusing on really nice, pretty designs.
But you're thinking of it like from like a professional perspective, right?
That's right. Yeah. So so there's like if you make it look pretty, it's like
Yes.
I don't know.
Okay. The next one, naturally, almost conversely to that, is Stake. Stake's cool. We both use Stake. You can trade US stocks on it, not Australian, and not anywhere else.
Yeah. So I think that in the ad for Goodments, it said something about trading Australian and
US.
I'm
not maybe you're right.
Sure. But now Stake is just introducing ASX
So the end of the
anyway.
year, Stake is going to bring ASX onto their platform. We don't know. I don't think we know if it's Chess sponsored. Is that right? We're not sure.
Yeah, I would assume it's not, but I don't know.
We assume it's not.
Because
they're
I think
Australian
they literally
company,
said,
though,
like,
right?
Yeah, I think that they said, well, there's,
But like it's a higher chance.
Yeah.
Like they're not some random American company.
But they also said like, oh, we're going to be doing. Did they say we're going to be doing trades for free?
Yeah, well, that's what they do.
Yeah, but how are they gonna make any money? Because they make their money now by charging you to put your money into US dollars.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know how they're going to make any money doing free trades.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
So the way that it works in, I don't know if we should give a little background, but the way that Robinhood and Charles Schwab and stuff can pay for, so like the way that they make money is called payment for order flow.
Yeah, it's
which
good.
is
it's really interesting.
Which is where they'll sell hedge funds all the open and closed, like all the current open positions before the market and all of the trades that they're doing, and they'll sell the full ledger of all transactions entered and the size and volume and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then all of those hedge funds have the information early before the market's even open or whatever.
Yeah.
And they know which way everyone's trying to push the price, all that kind of thing. They can bet against it. They can...
I heard... Tell me if this is true or even possible.
Yeah.
But I heard that they even have data... Even in a live market, if I go to make a trade, they know that trade has been entered before it's been fulfilled, and their bots can act on it before my trade's been fulfilled. Yeah,
and that's one thing that's like great about having your own hedge fund, Nathan. So
you're saying it like you do.
Yeah, no. The HQLA hedge fund is something we don't tell the fans about. So one thing that's great is that everyone could put in their order. So a lot of people put in their order 8 a.m. kind of thing. Market doesn't open till, I don't know, 9:30 if it's the NASDAQ. And so they'll put in their order, and then hedge funds can buy like shares at, if they want to buy shares at 8 a.m. when you've done that, they can just buy the same shares that you're about to push up. Then when the market opens, it's like, oh, I got them more expensive than I hoped to. Like, this is annoying. Like, I've been trying to push up. Yeah.
That's nuts.
push up the price. They can do that, dump them before you've even by 10 a.m. You know.
Yeah, dump them on open.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Continuing through here, being mindful of the time.
Yes.
Stake's really cool, easy to use. They do take their spread when you convert your money from your account over into US dollars. You can do an express option, which is an additional 0.5%, and their standard rate is 0.7%, which is really not very much. So it's quite good. Whenever I'm transferring in and out, I'm always quite surprised how close it is to the current rate.
Yeah.
So I like it. I think it's awesome.
I actually watched the Bloomberg currency.
Oh, yeah.
And then I know what the exact live currency is.
Yeah.
Stake, I think, is actually slower than because to get the transfer done by Stake is actually slower than Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Sorry, slower than Bloomberg. Slower than the Bloomberg terminal. So when I see the price move, I've also
probably faster than Bitcoin.
I also watch Bitcoin a lot on Bloomberg, so it's one of those things. Both start with a B. So yeah, every time that I see price move, I make sure that it's 0.0 spread.
Yeah.
And so I'm basically getting the currency trade done for free.
I see.
Because they also take a spread on the currency, which is something you should know.
Yeah.
So you won't ever see that as a fee.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Selfwealth is good. It's like $10 trades or $9.50 trades or something. Some of these accounts have, which is worth checking, they have inactivity fees. If you don't do anything on them for 6 months or whatever it is, they start charging you a monthly rate. So Selfwealth don't have that, which is kind of cool. You can get a bunch of premium features for $20 a month. You still pay for trades though, but you get to see a bunch of analysis and stuff, which is maybe interesting. I'm not sure. I think their UI is really simple and pretty easy to read. It looks clean and tidy. They also take a spread, and you can trade US and Australian stocks, which is cool. Interactive Brokers. Really shame that they're not chess sponsored, because I think I've never used the platform, but I actually signed up for all of these to have a quick look, and except for eToro, and I was super impressed with Interactive Brokers. The products that they offered, the list of products that they offers is stocks, options, futures, CFDs, bonds, commodities, forex, mutual funds. I don't even know why you buy mutual funds, but there's just so many things. It was just so impressive. When you sign up, you can kind of select which options, which products you want to use and stuff like that. And I thought it was really cool. And then Superhero, which I don't know, seems kind of funny. As you said, not chess sponsored. Free trading on ETFs, which is interesting, and $5 trades for stocks. So, of all of those things, would you recommend? So let's say someone was coming into the market, wanted to buy something. What would be a few things you might recommend?
I think that someone's coming into the market and they want to buy something. So
what
broker should
someone's
they
18 and they've got $5,000.
Yeah.
And they want exposure to the market, but they don't even know if they want exposure to the US market, the Australian market. They're not sure.
Yeah, so I think a really good way to start is obviously to you can go straight for a Commsec, right? But one thing that's really good as well that we should mention is Commsec Pocket.
Yeah, you're right.
Which is a really clean UI version of Commsec. All you have to do is sign. So you have to.
It's almost so clean it looks fake, but yeah.
Yeah, so you have to sign up for Commsec.
Yep.
Then you can sign up for Commsec Pocket.
Yep.
And then you move money into your CDIA, which is just your Commonwealth Direct Investment Account or whatever.
Just kind of sits down under your savings account, your spending account.
Yeah. And so you just move money into there. And if you're already with Commonwealth Bank, that's a great way to do it.
It's that easy.
So you move it into there, and then you can trade on Commsec Pocket and get $2 trades.
Yep.
And then one thing that's really clean, you can just say, okay, I'll go for what is it? It's IOZ is the ticker, but you won't even see tickers on Commsec Pocket.
Yep.
But yeah, you just click on ASX 200.
It's just a bunch of ETFs, right?
Yeah, it's about 7 ETFs.
Yeah.
And you just click on ASX 200 and then you go $1,000 and you press go.
An example would be sustainable technology or something. Might be the name of an ETF, right?
Yeah. And there's a health focused one.
Right. And so you go, I want exposure to the stock market, and I think health, medical, whatever is going to be the next thing. I'll pop $1,000 in that.
So basically, what I buy in there is just IOZ, which is ASX 200, and NDQ, which is the Nasdaq 100.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think both of those are really good.
That's like your high interest savings account, right?
Yeah, it's
Isn't that what you use it for?
Yes, yeah, something like that.
Pretty much is,
yeah,
right?
ETFs are basically a very high interest saving account that you can lose money on, and and so not financial advice. So yeah,
Okay, so
I
Commsec
really
Pocket.
like. Yeah.
Would you ever progress to actual Commsec?
Well, see, the thing with actual Commsec is that if you're buying, say, IOZ, you can buy IOZ and NDQ on Commsec as well,
Yeah.
but paying for $1,000 of that will cost you $10.
Yeah, but what if you wanted to buy individual stock?
If you wanted to buy an individual stock, yeah, you would definitely progress to so you'd progress to Commsec, say.
Yep.
And then yeah, you can use that to purchase, say, like if you were going for something like individual in Australia,
Mm-hmm.
so you would want to buy, I don't know, say like BHP for example.
Yeah.
And that's obviously very like moves a lot with the price of iron ore and coal and all that kind of thing, but. It would be, so like you'd get exposure to one of the biggest Australian companies, or like Wes Farmers, like we talked about before.
It's a good one.
So yeah, and then you go in and you want to put like obviously if we're doing a step by step, you want to go and you want to put a limit order on that, and you want to make sure your limit order isn't too high. So what a limit order does is it restricts the price that you can buy it at. So you're putting a price ceiling. If you're buying a stock,
Mm-hmm.
you will be putting a price ceiling, so the maximum price that you're willing to spend
Yes.
on that stock.
Yes, particularly if the market's closed, right?
Yeah,
You don't want to get messed up if you just say market price and then it jumps up.
definitely. Yeah, so you want to put a fairly low limit order on that.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
good.
So yeah,
That's good.
I reckon that's the way to go.
Commsec Pocket, good start. Commsec, good way to buy individual companies in Australia. We use Stake to buy US stuff. I think it's really simple and easy to use.
Yeah.
Good to recommend that, but maybe don't. I mean, you could start there if you want. You can buy ETFs, which at that point it's kind of similar to Commsec Pocket, but US based. And then moving on from there, at which point you wouldn't probably be getting our advice, but you could like you can start going into either interactive brokers, which I think I'll look more into, or CMC markets, and you can start trading options and CFDs and stuff like that.
Yeah, options are very risky. I've heard like there are like news articles about CMC shaming CMC for allowing CFDs kind of thing.
Right, yeah.
And it's literally because the people are super dumb.
Yeah.
You have to apply specially. You have to say, this is my job title. This is how
this is
much
the
money I
experience
have.
I've had, blah,
this
blah.
is the income that I've got.
Yeah.
Can I please trade CFDs? They go, oh, okay. You're taking your own risks here, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You say, yep, fine. And then they go and complain to the media like, oh, I lost all my money trading CFDs.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, this is not a stock. This is a complicated,
Yes.
you can, make yourself bankrupt very easily if you trade derivatives. So,
Yes, it's true. So I think that's a little bit of advice there. So yeah,
a little bit of non-advice.
a little bit of our personal experience.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's us.
Should I wrap up the episode?
I think you should. What do you got for us?
As I've always said, there's Apple, there's Microsoft, there's HQLA. We are looking to be the third American company to make a market cap of $2 trillion.
Okay.
It's HQLA episode 15.
It is.
Signing off.
Thanks for joining us.
Don't forget to follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple
Then we're back on.
Podcast, and everything else.
Perfect. Gotcha.
TikTok, BitClout, Twitter,
Bro, shut down.
Instagram.
Perfect.